such good shit!
Hey, Mark Rodriguez here at the Diving Cutter Podcast, and with me is...
NinjaPanda 1980.
Johnny Rodriguez, it's always cool to be here.
And Jack Knives from Jack Knives Reviews.
There we go. So today we're going to be talking about the actual results and our overall thoughts, opinions, and reviews of AEW Double or Nothing, and some of the fallout that happened on the following episode of Dynamite. I don't think there's been any big wrestling news not related to AEW in particular. The only thing I could think of off the top of my head with the Naomi and Sasha walkout is that they've been confirmed that they've been suspended without pay. They've been, suspended indefinitely. WWE removed the merch and everything off the site. And now they've also are talking that they're going to just flat out, not retire, but I guess temporarily put the women's tag titles away for the moment or something. So that's all interesting. I don't know if you guys have any quick thoughts on that before we get started. Any other news we're going to discuss during the actual event? There's big stuff, but one of the matches is about it. We'll get more into that when we get to that. But any thoughts on the whole Sasha and Naomi thing, especially since we didn't hear anything from you about it, Jack?
My big issue is... it comes down to the fact that I understand where their frustration came from with WWE, but my issue wasn't necessarily what they did, it's how they did it. Because the fact of the matter is, the show was already on the air. Like, it was already started. It was already, any grievances or things you could have done prior to that. And the problem is once they, had said, hey, screw you, gave the titles or whatever, allegedly, the part that no one else is talking about is when you're on a main event, you get a pay bump. Like, everyone knows that. Like, when you're a main event of a show, you get a pay bump. The problem is when they did that, WWE were scrambling and they wanted, they had to make Asuka versus Becky Lynch, and they completely kicked Doudrop and Nikki ASH out of the main event spot, which means they took money from their pockets. And no one is talking about how selfish that is of them. Because it's like, you kind of screwed them out of money because you decided to be petty about it. And like I said, I understand why they did it. It's more of an uncouth thing to do. It's, like I said, I do constantly refer to wrestling is more like a theater play. And the problem is if you're at curtain call in a theater and it's like, oh, it's showtime, and your actors who are playing the main leads just don't show up, if they don't show up before the show, there's an understudy. But the problem is if they just decide the show is already starting, and then literally right before the first act they go, yeah, we're leaving, bye, you screwed the whole production. Because now they don't even have an understudy. And to me, it's just unprofessional. Because I get the grievances, I get the issues, but think about how many... we followed the indie circuit so much. We've known people from the indie circuit. We've interacted with them. Think of how many people have, scratched and clawed and, gone everywhere to even get an attempt at even showing up on a WWE or a AEW or just a televised event. And then you have Sasha, who's essentially been handed time after time after time multiple championships, multiple pay-per-view spots, multiple merchandising rights and all this stuff, and for her to go, no, I want more, makes her kind of look like a selfish bitch. And Naomi, I think more was follow the leader. I don't know much about what Naomi's position of it was, but Naomi's going to be protected because if they're not going to fire Jimmy for getting so shit-faced and then they just decide, you know what, not only we're going to give you a title, we're going to give you 2 titles as a reward for being drunk. I'm like, Naomi's pretty much fine. But it's kind of like I'm starting to see a pattern with the newer generation of wrestlers being very entitled. And they're believing their own hype. And it's kind of getting under my skin. Because it's like, stick to your lane and be a little humble. That's all I ask.
They need the Iron Sheik. I will make the new generation humble, Baba.
Exactly.
Oh my god. But yeah, so I guess like I said, we might as well get started. I don't think there's been anything else in other companies. I mean, I think anything's about Tessa Blanchard possibly screwing up her chances at Women of Wrestling. I mean, I think anything you're saying is basically what we've all been saying, I guess, So she should have seen it coming or something, or she's ruining her big chance at redemption. I don't know if you have anything to add to that. It's pretty much like, what else can you say that hasn't been said?
The sad thing is, I try really hard to give Tessa the benefit of the doubt. I try because she's so damn talented, and she is one of those women that you could base a company around. But the problem is her attitude is like, you can only go so far. Like, you can only allow someone that toxic to get so far before you're just like, okay, it's not worth it. And the problem is I see she has a very, in my mind, I think she has a very Brock Lesnar mindset of like, I don't give a shit, I'm always right. And I wish she wasn't like that. That's all. And it disappoints me. I do like Tessa. Like I said, I think her skill set is so damn good. And it kind of pains me, but I'm also like, I get it. Like, I get why people don't like her. I get it.
Alright guys, so now we can actually get started. I think we covered all the things. Like I said, nothing really, because it hasn't been that long since the last podcast, so nothing other than what we're about to discuss happened. So we're going to we'll get through this little match right away. So for AEW Double or Nothing 2022, the buy-in show was a quick match. It was a tag team match. It was Hookhausen, which is basically Danhausen and Hook, teaming up to go against Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. And it's a regular match there. The bad thing about being the first match of such a stacked card is that kind of blurs together, and of course it's kind of a more, I don't know, Danhausen silliness and Hook, being indestructible, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. I don't remember Danhausen really doing all that much in the ring. He might still be technically injured. He did do a surprise, I forgot what he did. He did some kind of power slam or something to kind of show people that, yes, he can wrestle, but it was mostly his antics while Hook, did all the stuff. But, any particular thoughts on that, guys? Or information on if Hausen is still kind of injured and kind of toning it down, or...
I think he might still be recovering. I was kind of bummed because I love Danhausen. I think he's extremely talented in the ring, and it sucks that no one has gotten to see the opportunities of seeing him wrestle because he is really, really talented. But I'm hoping sometime soon they'll actually let him wrestle.
Yeah, I agree. I love Danhausen's wrestling. He definitely dialed it back in that match. He hardly did anything at all, but I think literally he was there just to kind of show that, hey, I am kind of cleared to wrestle, but I'm still nursing a wound there. But, I definitely love to see him, at a full 100%.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it was still a good match, but Danhausen, he was basically, I guess he was more there just for commitment, like hey, at least I'm not gonna walk out of the ring, that kind of situation. So that's that pretty much.
Yeah, the only thing I do want to say though is I kind of noticed that Orange Cassidy's been kind of phased out. So, I guess is there no room for two comedy acts or something? I don't know.
I think the problem is Orange. That's the problem. They don't really know what to do with him anymore. I mean, he was funny and all that stuff for a while, but then after a while, they're kind of put themselves in a box. Because the sad truth of it is Danhausen is a kind of person who he's like a monkey wrench. He could pretty much be used in comedic style. He could actually wrestle. He has all this. Orange only really works as a comedy wrestler. He has some abilities, but you couldn't really see him as a legit threat. Whereas Danhausen, you could see him as just this guy who's what the hell's he gonna do, you're not too sure on him, as opposed to Orange, where you have to attack him first. Danhausen's the kind of person who could just pop up and be like, hey, how's it going? Bye!
The only other thing about Orange Cassidy too is that his whole gimmick was that he's too lazy, he doesn't wrestle, whatever, and they built it up for such a while that when you finally get the build up that, oh shit, he really can wrestle, oh crap, he's fucking fast in the ring, what the hell, he's jumping over the place. It's like, I mean, then the joke's kind of over, you know what I mean? You kind of can't go back to the lazy guy, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I mean, like, that's another thing. It's like his whole gimmick is that he's lazy. He doesn't want to do anything, and he doesn't care about anything. And then, like, say, like, Danhausen could be He's just entertainment. Like, he can be funny on the commentary. He insults people. I mean, hell, he's the one who coined the term "ass boys" for Billy Gunn's sons. Because they literally he keeps calling him "ass boys," and now everyone's chanting "ass boys." Because he literally says his name is Mr. Billy Ass. And it's so funny. Like, he's so funny because he's like, you don't know what he's going to do. And that's kind of the key to a comedy wrestler, is you have to be able to change stuff and work with it. Like, Orange can't change because his entire gimmick works on the joke that he's cool and he can wrestle. Like, that's the whole gimmick. Like, there's not much you can really do with that.
I also like the slight, like, I don't know, like almost like a Transylvanian accent that Danhausen has.
Yeah, and literally, if you listen to his intro, when you hear them announce it, he literally says, they say, from somewhere very far away, weighing probably 300 pounds.
Jeez.
Like, and then, like, I still am waiting for him, and Ninja knows what I'm talking about. I'm waiting for the jar of teeth. I'm waiting for that to happen.
Oh god, the jar of teeth, yes.
So what he would do, he used to do this thing where he would get a literal jar of fake teeth, of molars, and he'd get his opponent beaten up, and he'd shove the jar of teeth in your mouth, and then he'd super kick you.
Oh, Jesus.
And it would literally be, it's called knocking, what was it called? It's like knocking your teeth housing out, or he's like knock your teeth housing out, or like his finisher was a GTS. His finisher's a GTS, which is called good night housing. Yeah, all of his things have the word housing in it.
So that's why he has like teeth drawn on his boots or whatever. I've noticed that a couple of times.
Yeah, because he literally uses teeth as a gimmick, where he'll like pop his teeth out. Like one of the last tapings of Ring of Honor, he fought Mark Briscoe, and you know Mark Briscoe's missing his first 4 teeth.
Yeah.
His front teeth. So when they fought, there was a point where Danhausen shoved the teeth down his mouth, and Mark spit him out, and then he punched him in the face, and at the end of the match, looking at the camera, was like, I finally got my teeth! I finally got my teeth!
Oh, jeez. So for this one, all of us went for Hookhausen, so all of us got a point. Just to make sure you guys missed the last episode, it was me, Johnny, and Ninja Panda again, and Jack Knives, sent his things to a pre-recorded thing. So yeah, all 4 of us got a point, so that's pretty cool. The next match is the big one, because there's lots of stuff. Oh god, yeah, literally, a lot of stuff before, during, and after the match. Oh shit. So the next match we had is MJF versus Wardlow, which is the big match at the beginning of the pay-per-view, which was, like, surprise and everything. And basically it was a thing where if Wardlow wins, he's finally free from, free from whatever contract he has with MJF, and now he can get an official AEW contract. But unfortunately, if Wardlow were to lose, then he would have to leave AEW altogether and all that. So, yeah, the big thing was that the night before Double or Nothing, MJF just fucking no-showed at a meet and greet, which kind of sucks because it was expensive for the fans and all that. And there were rumors and news and whatever that he actually booked a red-eye flight out of Vegas. And you're like, dude, he's booking a flight out of Vegas like the very night before he has a big match? What the fuck? And all that. And every other hour they kept updating like what's going on, or as far as we know, he's still in Vegas now. The next morning there was news that he never actually boarded the plane or whatever. And For the actual match, yeah, he did show up. But I mean, but like I said, everyone was just like, what's going to happen? Is he going to show up or not? Is he going to ruin like Wardlow's big pop? Because this would have been like his big chance to be super over with the fans, even more than he already is. And there's a spider in my wall. I got to get rid of it while you guys talk. But,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, I know that's extra. The spider wanted to be in the podcast. But anyways, what was I going to say? Well, now, what I would have done to troll the audience, because the very first match already was that, and it was, the Wardlow, MJF's theme starts playing, he comes out, so everyone's like, oh shit, he's actually here. Because, dude, literally hours before the match started, he was still not in the building. This dude literally showed up, like, in the last fucking, 10 minutes maybe before the match, I would have trolled the fans and made them not come out for, like, 3 minutes, kind of play it like you're playing the music and, like, where's MJF, you know what I mean? But nah, he showed up. And it was very much a squash match. He kept running from Wardlow. He was scared from Wardlow. There was a funny spot where I think he got quote-unquote injured. He was pretending that his leg hurt or something, but then he like comically pulled out his ring and put it on. But it was like he didn't notice that both Wardlow and the ref were right behind him. Like very, very cartoonish, but oh god, I love wrestling for that. And the ref just like casually grabs the ring and just joink, no ring for you. And the match continues. And Wardlow finally gets him into like 10,000 power bombs because the crowd kept wanting more and more and more. And of course, Wardlow gets the win. And now he's officially free from the contract. And I'll let you guys throw your thoughts, and I'll let someone else talk about the explosive promo on that Dynamite episode just, couple of days ago.
Well, I was there, and I can confirm that everything from the actual weekend, like from Dynamite, or from all the way from Saturday to Sunday, all of that was not worked. That was a shoot. That really did happen. Where what had happened was he was supposed to go to a meet and greet, and keep in mind, the meet and greet, you'd have to pay either $100 to $150 depending on the signatures. MJF's were $150. So these were like supposed to be guaranteed signatures, and you get a photo op with them. MJF just did not show up. Security did not know where he was. They didn't know what to do, so they gave the option of anyone who had an MJF card, because that's how they determine them. They give you actual collector's edition cards, and then you bring them up to the front, you get a signature, and you get to keep the card as well. And if you had one of those cards, you could either get a refund or you could exchange it for another person who's there's autograph. Also, Samoa Joe was supposed to do it, but his was more of a they screwed up and didn't tell him the time it was and where it was, because he wasn't near the hotel at the time. I guess he was like downtown. And so what had happened was, while this was all going on, meet and greet was about 3 or 4 hours. During that time, the entirety of that time, MJF was in the Mandalay Bay High Rollers gambling section. The entire time just playing the slot machines. And it was confirmed based off of photographs, based off of people seeing him. I think one fan tried going up to him, but the security stopped him from getting close to him because he was in the high roller area. Yeah, so that whole part was true. According to reports, when they started MJF's music right away, MJF wasn't even in the gorilla position. So he wasn't even by the ramp when they started his entrance. It was literally after the second or third beat, he ran up with his ring gear, did all his stuff. The match ended. After the match ended and they put him away in the stretcher, he literally got in a taxi and he drove back to his hotel, and that was it. He didn't stick around for the rest of the show, he just left. So all of that in the weekend, that was real. That wasn't a shoot, or that wasn't a work, that was actually a shoot. So anyone that's saying, oh, that was a work, no. Because allegedly, Tony Khan ended up having to pay somewhere between 15 to 20 grand back in refunds to both the fans and the MGM, both the fans and the casino staff who were paid to be security guards for MJF. So, yeah. So, like, no company owner is going to fork over, like, 15 to 20 grand like that and only get, like, oh, we tricked the fans. Because the fucked up thing is, Tony wouldn't do that to the fans. He would do that to, like, the wrestlers, or maybe to, like, the backstage producers or something. He wouldn't do that to the fans. Like, he wouldn't, even Vince wouldn't have done something that fucked up to, like, screw over the fans of the meet and greets. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is like, no. Anyone that's saying that part is a work, they're idiots. It's not. That part was not a work. So, and Tony was legit pissed. On the press conference, they asked him, "Do you have anything to say at this time about the MJF situation?" And he literally just goes, "No comment," just like that. And I'm like, ooh, he was pissed. But as far as the match itself, I mean, it was pretty much what I expected. Squash City, and you know, you love to see his ass get beaten like a piñata, so that makes me happy.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with Jack. Tony Khan would not do something that bad to screw over his fan base, so you could tell that was an actual shoot. But my question is, how did he not really die after taking that many power bombs? I mean, even as a bump, a power bomb is not friendly at all. It just isn't. So I love the match. It was a squash. It was brutal. I love seeing MJF get his ass beat, but good lord, that was almost a 20 minutes. That was almost a 5-minute snuffer flick, because it was just bad.
I love that. I was thinking about how, like, I remember someone's like, I said that to someone. I'm like, wow, it's amazing that Wardlow can hit that many power bombs that well and consistent. And then someone said that on a chat. I'm like, yeah, unlike Ridge Holland, who can't even do a fucking suplex and almost killed a man, you know.
Oof.
Okay, so my thing though is that because MJF kind of ruined it for everybody with the meet and greet, I wonder how more I don't know how much more stricter is AEW gonna get with the wrestlers? Say, hey, you better really show up and freaking meet and greet. Like, I don't know, like if there's gonna be more tensions towards that, because he pretty much ruined it for everybody else. Because you know how.
Well, yeah, and also think of it.
Somebody ruins something, it ruins for everybody else.
Right,
and think a very toxic place to be at, you know.
Right, and all of us here have been to, like, you know, wrestling meet and greets and all this stuff. As a fan, if you were to go after this situation, say you were at the fan meet and greet and you paid to see MJF because you liked him a lot, and then you get screwed out of doing that. If they came around again and do it, you're probably going to be hesitant to not do it again now.
Yeah, because...
Oh, yeah, but these meet and greets are super expensive. I'm sorry, but like $100 and so bucks, just, yeah, that's a lot of money for a lot of people. So, yeah, the fans really got screwed up. I mean, it was a good thing that they were still given the option to get their money back, because, yeah, that's pretty messed up what you do.
Yeah, because Johnny, remember how you booked a flight here? Now, of course, you just came to visit and stuff, and I think it was more like to meet Judith Hogue. Everybody else was kind of like an extra, you know. But imagine if you booked a flight for the sole purpose to be here and to meet Britt Baker, DMD, and have her like just fucking blow it off at the last minute.
Yeah, that would suck.
You gotta keep in mind, most of these people that wanted to see MJF, they're most likely not Vegas natives. They probably booked flights from who knows where and whatever, and then didn't show up.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I mean, there's locals there too, but you know, most of the fans are going to be from everywhere else, because especially Vegas, you get people from everywhere. That's just a given. And you know how hyped up this AEW event has. I mean, come on, it's been like what, since 2 years?
I think 3, right?
Yeah, it's been, because the very first one. The very first AEW event is, and everyone could say, like, All Out is their WrestleMania. Let's be honest. Double or Nothing is their WrestleMania because it was their first ever show. So anyone could say whatever they want, but I was there. Literally, and everyone could say, oh, well, what about All Out or All In? I'm like, All In wasn't an official AEW event because AEW didn't exist yet. So their first official show as a wrestling thing was Double or Nothing. And so, yeah, I mean, like, me personally, like, I'm from Vegas too. And I was pissed that, like, you know, hey, they haven't been able to do it because of the pandemic, and it sucks, but I'm also like, you know, what are you gonna do? But yeah, if I had paid all that money to see MJF and then him just say fuck you, I'm like, no. Especially the fact that it wasn't even a valid excuse. He literally just went and gambled. That would piss me off even more.
Yeah, it would have been understandable if he had a family emergency or if he got himself injured or something like that. That's understandable. But him just saying, screw you fans, screw you all, screw AEW, I'm just gonna go gamble. Come on now.
Any thoughts on the squash match, Johnny?
Okay, my bad, but it's like, you gotta understand that that's a big frustration right there. It's totally unprofessional. And hell yeah, of course, Tony Khan is gonna be pissed off about the whole thing. Okay, going to the match, good thing MJF got his ass whooped, well deserved. I like the fact that the fans were, you know, booing him and they were putting the middle finger at him and all that stuff. Because, like, yeah, it's well deserved. He did the most douchiest thing a person can do. I know that wrestling, there's, you know, heels and all that stuff. But when it gets to the level where they're actually doing it at the real life, that's pretty much off the script, that they're actually, you know, messing it up for everybody else. Yeah, he deserved that ass whooped, and I'm glad that Wardlow won the match, beat his ass, did that, what's the name of that thing, the slamming thing that he slammed him like,
the power bomb,
like 20 times. The power bomb. Enjoyed every minute of it. And yeah, it's good that Wardlow won, and he's now signed an AEW.
So now, who wants to describe the explosive promo that MJF did when he appeared on Dynamite this week? Which is all the news.
Ninja, why don't you take it over for this one?
Oh, no, Jack. That one's all yours, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we need the expert storyteller for this one.
Hang on, I gotta pull up the actual transcript of the whole promo. Give me a second. Give me a few seconds. I have the whole transcript, but yeah, it is pretty long. Basically, he came out, he said, I'm in a lot of pain, and he basically... He said, this isn't MJF, this is Max Friedman talking, and I'm all like, so your name still? Okay. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work when it's all like, it would be like John Cena going, this isn't John Cena talking, this is John Cena talking. It's like, yeah, we know, that's your name. Anyway. Basically he's saying, like, because of the big merger with Discovery and Warner Brothers Media, that's the reason he's not getting a push. I wouldn't want to embarrass you. Speaking of embarrassing, you've been trying to sit down with me to hash things out for quite some time, haven't you? Well, guess what? Too little, too late. Here's why. When this company first started, it was all friends wrestling. Everybody was handed a ticket. True. Except for me. Not true. See, I had to write my own, and boy, do I have a good penmanship, because I've created moment after moment after moment for this company, and I still get no respect. Bullshit. Nobody is on my level. No one. Everything I touch turns to gold. There is nothing I can't do. Every time I come out here, I am not expected to hit home runs. I am expected to grand slams and do that shit on a weekly basis. Let's see how the settled grade. I'm 26 years old, constantly held under a microscope, because I'm the only guy who is capable of carrying the company on my back, as I have for months. It's funny that I hear boos, but I also hear clapping. Were you clapping and when you were calling me an unprofessional piece of shit? I'm just curious. You're not the only problem, it's the boys in the back too. The boys in the back all want my spot, so guess what? You want my spot? You can have it because I don't want to be here anymore. Okay, when you say the words, I don't want to be here anymore, tell me that doesn't sound like a little kid. I don't want to be here anymore. Anyway. Now let's talk about the fans, huh? You people call yours fans. You're not fans, you're uneducated marks.
Ooh.
You sit there on your phones tweeting out your opinions like they're worth a damn. Let me explain something to you people. You don't know shit. I doubt it. Your opinions suck. Your opinions change at the drop of a dime, and then you pretend that your new opinions match your old opinions. For example, man, I always knew MJF was a good wrestler. Really? That's interesting. Because last time I checked, you guys pretend I sucked in the ring for a long time. And why is that, huh? Because I'm not untrained like your favorites? Because I don't pretend to watch New Japan? Because I don't dump my opponents on their head? Because I'm not reckless? What is it? Because I'm not chasing star ratings, guys? What is it? Yeah, actually, it's all those things, but okay. How could I possibly be the best? Well, newsflash, I am the best. I'm the best in the world because I'm the only guy who makes you feel. Unlike all those other guys, I don't have to do a bunch of bullshit to get you there. Let's see, he's this, he's that, da-da-da. Just ramble. Here's something he doesn't want you to know. Do you guys know who the second biggest minute-for-minute draw is in this company? Me. It's me. And you don't believe me. Ask Tony. Ask Stat Boy Tony in the back. See what he's going to say. But whatever, you don't ask him to reach into his pockets and pay the man who has been busting his ass for him since day one. No, you want to hire ex-WWE guys. He keeps bringing in that can't lace up my boots. Hey, would you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy? See, maybe you don't get it. Here's the problem with you, boss. You got a position of power in a wrestling company, when the only position that you should be assuming is behind the guardrail with all of them. I don't want to wait until 2024, but you won't listen to me, so allow me to make it a little easier for you, Tony. I want you to fire me. Don't count me down, you piece of shit. You shut your fucking mouth. He's talking to the camera guy off camera who counts down before the commercials. Tony, look at me. I want you to fire me, you fucking mark. Fire me, and then it went off the air. Or that part. So, basically...
Oh, they actually muted the mic on him and everything, like MJF.
Yeah, they
CM
muted
Punk
the mic on him, and then he started screaming at the camera. And then allegedly, when the camera went off, CM Punk came out, and he was only wearing one boot, which was weird. And then Matt Jackson came out, which was weird. And then like they didn't come out to music. And then he jumped out into the crowd. So my problem is okay. That's the basic transcript of it. I want to hear what you guys think, and then I'll jump on. You guys go ahead first.
I mean, what can I say, man? I mean, that's I can't. I mean, obviously it has to be like some kind of work or something, because they would have got, I don't know, they would have called security to get him out, or they would have put a commercial or some bullshit. But I don't know. It's like a work shoot or something. It's like part of his actual grievances. And he actually knocked on most of the stuff that all the anti-AEW people have been saying, just ex-WWE guys, or, it was, the All Friends generation back when it started, and all that kind of stuff. And, I don't know, man. I'm just excited and curious where this is going to go. A lot of people are predicting this is going to eventually become like a MJF versus CM Punk thing, where, in the end, MJF will get the title, finally. But, I mean, I don't know. This is a weird situation. It's just wow, man.
I would think that, but if you think about it, there's been a good couple of times where MJF and Tony Khan have bumped heads before, and he's even gone as far as to threaten to pick up a WWE contract and sign it. Not to mention, to kind of see Mark Jackson come out, that was a little off. But CM Punk coming out in half of his gear was looking really weird. It didn't seem like they were out there to jump on the mic or do anything. It looked like they were out there to whip his ass. So yeah, he's getting a good bit of heat in the back from the crowds. I don't really think it's a work. I think it's a shoot, and it's about to shoot him right in the ass.
This whole thing, it's what the hell's going on here? It actually sounds like MJF has a lot of issues, like behind the scenes, with the AEW, with the management, with I guess with the way he's being promoted or whatever. But I don't know, because MJF is like he could talk all he wants to talk, but I mean, honestly, I mean his whole gimmick, very douchey guy. So it's kind of hard to feel for him and agree with everything he's saying because he does a lot of things that's kind of like on a shitty side, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it almost feels like he's legit becoming his actual character. Like, when he first started out, yeah, he was a douchey heel. I loved it. It was like Adam Kaufman reborn. Like, it was perfect. I loved it. But then when you start doing stuff in real life that legit is beyond even kayfabe, like, not showing up to the shows, and you're in the High Roller Casino and all this other junk, you're fighting with the actual president of your wrestling federation, stuff like that. It's literally going from kayfabe to literally just pure ego. And, he's 26 years old, he's still a young guy. So, yeah, he's letting his stupidity get the best of him, and I don't know, I think this might be the last straw. I mean, I was waiting for Tony Khan to pull a Vince McMahon on him after the match and just literally come out and just go, "You're fired." But, maybe that's the thing. Maybe he wants MJF to actually suffer and just, like, actually go through these matches and, occasionally have a move botch on him a couple of times, if you get what I mean. But yeah, I don't get what's going on with him. Like,
it sounds like he's mixing his persona and his personal life all together, all mixed up all at once.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
And it's like he hates his job right now, pretty much.
I have my own take on what I think is going on. So obviously, as I said before, the whole Double or Nothing weekend, that was not planned. That was a shoot that really did happen. And I honestly think at some point, MJF had some form of a mental breakdown. I really do. I think he had it had really taken on himself. Like, there's a point, especially when you're younger in the wrestling industry, you start believing your own hype, and MJF is that guy. He is the person who believes his own hype. And the truth of it is that not showing the meet and greet, and then showing up literally last second and then leaving Double or Nothing, I think Tony gave him an ultimatum. My theory is that he gave him an ultimatum. He said, "You know what? You really screwed me, and I should fire you. But we could use this to our advantage, if you're willing to play ball. But this will be your last opportunity to do that." And I think that's what that work shoot was. It was his last opportunity to, prove his worth. Because the thing of it is people are comparing that promo to the pipe bomb. The difference is, as someone, because I was at the pipe bomb one, and the difference is the reason the pipe bomb one worked is because that was years in the making. Like, all of Punk's grievances were things that we'd witnessed as fans. Punk had never. People have this imaginary mindset because people want to forget. They think Punk was handed the main event spot when he showed up. He wasn't. When he showed up to WWE, he wasn't. You remember, he was in ECW for years. He was the jobber guy. He was the guy who was second fiddle, third string fiddle. He second fiddled Kofi Kingston, for fuck's sake. Like, come on. You had him, in every opportunity he would get, they'd give him opportunity. He'd have to prove himself, and he'd accomplish it, and then they said no. Every time. Like, they chose Jeff Hardy over him and then he got drugged, or he did all the drugs, and then he got fired. And then they're like, well, rather than fall back on Punk, we'll pick someone else. And it was always someone else. It was Andrade, it was Alberto Del Rio, it was Ryback, it was everyone else but Punk. And then that's why the whole pipe bomb thing worked, because he talked about John Cena. He directed it as John Cena as a representative of the WWE mold. Not him specifically, but him as a mold of the WWE byproduct. Of like the government cheese of wrestling. MJF, his entire promo, the entirety of it, is all based on the fact that he is owed. He wants. The problem is, his grievance doesn't make any sense. Mark and I have been doing this from the get-go, and you could vouch for this, Mark. Is it or is it not true that every single AEW pay-per-view, MJF has had a high-profile match?
Yeah, that's true.
Is it not true that for years they wouldn't let him lose a match?
Yeah, because there's all these big matches. The matches that would always be predicting that, oh yeah, here's where MJF finally gets what's coming to him, and he fucking wins. He still wins in the end. He won the feud against Cody,
Yeah.
and I forgot who else. He did that dramatic thing where he would like just fall on top of the guy and pin that way.
Yeah. And is it not true that he has been consistently on Dynamite, their premier show, from the premiere onward?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, he usually gets the best promos of the show, of each episode.
So what the fuck is he owed?
I mean, he wants that Cody Rhodes money, yo. And
When?
Jericho money.
Well, when? You know why Punk is getting paid more than him and Danielson are getting paid more than him? Because if you're not a wrestling fan, you know who the fuck they are. You know who CM Punk is. You know who Jon Moxley is. You know names like Sting, names like Jeff Hardy. Whether or not I like them is irrelevant. I know them. And that's part of the game. Part of the game is you have to play the numbers thing. Why do you think Jericho hasn't had like a good singles run in like over a year and a half, but he gets paid more than, I guarantee you, he gets paid more than almost everyone in the back. It's not because of him being a better wrestler, because God knows that's not true. He gets paid more because of his name value. MJF doesn't have any name value outside of wrestling. He doesn't. You have him go to WWE, I literally said, I would love it. Because people honestly think, legitimately think, if MJF goes to WWE, he's going to make it big. They are so stupid. If they honestly think that, because I remember I saw a chat, someone said, oh, have him go to WWE, he'll be main eventing WrestleMania within the year. I'm like, wow, you're fucking delusional.
He's not even main eventing AEW, to be honest. He's not in the main event.
And his argument doesn't even make any sense. His argument is, oh, they're ex-WWE guys. Oh, they're ex-WWE guys. Guess what? Everyone on the roster is ex-somewhere else. He's an ex-MLW world champion. His entire gimmick came from MLW. So where the fuck is his argument from? And it's like all the people on WWE, half of their roster... I don't know. Ninja, do you watch WWE? Or you pay attention to their roster, at least I'm assuming? Or who's on the roster?
Few far and in between. It changes daily.
But do you agree with me that a huge chunk of their mainstay stars are former Ring of Honor wrestlers, or former TNA wrestlers, or former New Japan wrestlers?
Yep, very much so.
So this idea of, oh, well, they came from WWE, so no, fuck off. Let's just call a spade a spade. MJF can't wrestle. He's not a good wrestler. He's a crisp wrestler, which means he's a consistent, old-school style wrestler. But the problem with that is we don't live in 1987. We don't live in the time where crisp wrestlers will ever be the top guys. Because everyone else's style has evolved and adapted. If you look at fucking, look at Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega wrestling in 2021 is not the same Kenny Omega that wrestled in 2017. It's similar, but he adapted to his style. He got stronger, he got stiffer, he got slowed down. MJF is already starting at a neutral. He's already slowed. He started slow. You have to get slower as time goes on when you're a wrestler. How do you get slower when you're already slow in the ring? 90% of his offense is just roll-ups, maybe rest holds, maybe occasionally a neck breaker here and there, suplex once or twice. That's not a good wrestler. Like, everyone acts like he's like this amazing wrestler. He's really not.
Yeah, where's the flippy shit?
Well, you don't even have to do the flippy shit. I'm just like, fuck, in my mind, I even said Matt Hardy is a better wrestler than Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is a spot monkey, and he's already said that. Most of Jeff Hardy, what makes him popular is the fact that he does high-flying risks. Which is also why he's, has so many on and off drug habits, because he's always in pain. But Matt is a more consistent ground mat wrestler, and that's the thing. He had to evolve. MJF, I don't see evolving because he's already in the mindset of, I'm at the top of the mountain. So where's my next mountain? And it's like, that's the reason everyone hated Roman. Everyone hated Roman Reigns for so long because he was put on top of the mountain and then he had to work his way down the mountain and then back up the mountain. When you put someone at the top, they're never going to be humbled. MJF has never had to be humbled since he's been in since he's been in AEW. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of the other guys that he says aren't, they have been. Punk's been humbled in his career. Danielson's definitely been humbled in his career. And all these other guys that literally went through the trenches. MJF's never had to go through the trenches. Like, could you see, legitimately, could any of you see MJF going into a 60-minute Iron Man match with someone?
No. Definitely no.
Could you? Yeah. Could you see MJF going on could you see him, like, if he was the champion, hypothetically, let's say he was the AEW World Champion, could you see him defending it week after week?
Hell no.
Or going out to house shows and, like, showing off his skills and, like, fighting in ladder matches or steel cages or fighting off, like, these big buff guys? No, because he's not that guy. Give him a TNT title run? Sure. Don't give him the world title. He won't know what the hell to do with it.
I mean, most of the times you gotta fight like 5 guys and shit just to get to fight him.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like 90% of... Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I get that he's a shit heel. Yeah, he's a villain. I get it. But the problem is so is half of your fucking roster. Half of AEW are villains. The Bucks are villains. The Elite are villains. Friggin' the House of Black is villains. But it's okay, guys. We have Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. They'll save us.
Yes, but the difference is they can all wrestle. As far as MJF goes, literally it's just a breather day for his opponent, because all that's going to happen is, like you said, he's going to put him in a chokehold for like 6 or 7 minutes. They're just going to lay there. Then he's going to put him in some sort of sunset flip, kick out, put him in an armbar. He's going to sit there and, I mean, I'm surprised his opponents don't fall asleep halfway through as slow as he just cooks the matches. It's like, I could go for a smoke break and he'll be in the same hold, like, when I come back. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and people that keep comparing him to Punk, they're not the same. They're not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, guys. But the real crazy thing is that we're basically going on an hour here, and we're still talking about the first match. We got all these other matches to go on and everything. And as much as MJF would love, do we just talk about like him? Let's move on to the other matches, okay?